Imagine a silence so profound, it swallows screams. Picture a landscape so desolate, it holds secrets frozen in time. In the winter of 1959, 9 vibrant young hikers ventured into the heart of the Russian Ural Mountains. Full of life and the thrill of adventure, they never returned. What they encountered on the slopes of the Dead Mountain remains one of history's most baffling and terrifying enigmas. Their tent was found ripped open from the inside. Their bodies scattered across the frozen terrain, bearing injuries that defied explanation. Some were barefoot in the sub-zero temperatures. Others had suffered catastrophic internal trauma with no external wounds. What drove them to such desperate flight? Was it an avalanche, a military experiment gone wrong, or something far more sinister, something whispered about in ancient folklore? This is the true story of the Dyatlov Pass incident. A chilling descent into the unknown, where the beauty of nature masks a terrifying and enduring mystery. Prepare to journey with us to the frozen echoes of Kholat Syakhl, where the whispers on the wind still carry the unanswered screams of 9 lost souls. Our group was led by the ambitious Igor Dyatlov, a respected and capable mountaineer. With him were 8 others: the spirited Zinaida Kolmogorova, the pragmatic Rustem Slobodin, the jovial Lyudmila Dubinina, the thoughtful Alexander Kolevatov, and 4 other equally adventurous souls. They were friends, bound by their love for the mountains, their laughter and camaraderie a warm shield against the biting cold. Their initial trek was filled with the beauty and the challenges of the winter wilderness. Towering pines, heavy with snow, stood like silent sentinels. The crisp air stung their lungs, and the crunch of their boots on the frozen ground was the constant rhythm of their journey. But as they approached their destination, the slopes of Kholat Syakhl, a place ominously known in the local Mansi language as Dead Mountain, whispers of ancient lore began to surface. Tales of a wrathful spirit, a guardian of the peak who resented any intrusion, were shared, perhaps as campfire stories, perhaps with a touch more seriousness than the confident hikers cared to admit. Experienced as they were, the sheer isolation and the stark, unforgiving nature of the landscape could stir even the most rational mind. They made camp on the slope of Kholat Syakhl, their sturdy tent a small beacon of warmth and light against the encroaching darkness. Inside, the hiss of their small stove offered a defiant comfort against the growing chill. Igor Dyatlov meticulously recorded their progress in his diary, his gloved hand making the script slightly uneven. "The wind is strong," he wrote, "but the shelter is good. We are warm." Zinaida Kolmogorova hummed a quiet melody as she tended to her gear, the faint clinking of metal against fabric barely audible above the wind. Rustem Slobodin, his face still flushed from the day's exertion, recounted the Mansi legend he'd heard, the tale of the mountain's vengeful spirit. "They say there's something up there," he might have said, his voice a low murmur against the wind. "Something that doesn't like us being here." The others likely chuckled, attributing it to folklore, to the fanciful imaginings born of long, cold nights, Experienced mountaineers had little patience for superstition. The mountains were a test of skill and endurance, not a playground for vengeful entities. But as the night deepened, a subtle yet unsettling shift began to occur. The wind, which had been a steady howl, seemed to change its character. It dropped in pitch, becoming a low, guttural moan that vibrated through the tent fabric. The canvas billowed inwards with an unnatural force, despite the tautness of the guy ropes. Small sounds began to penetrate the relative safety of their shelter. A faint, almost imperceptible skittering just beyond the canvas. Then, a scratching sound, low and persistent, that seemed to emanate from beneath the frozen ground itself. Lyudmila Dubinina, usually the most light-hearted of the group, shivered, pulling her thick layers tighter. Did anyone else hear that? Alexander Kolevatov, ever the pragmatist, tried to offer a rational explanation, his voice perhaps betraying a hint of unease. Probably just the wind, the ice shifting. But the sounds persisted, growing more distinct, more deliberate. It was no longer the random fury of the wind or the settling of snow. There was a pattern to it, a sense of something circling their small haven, its unseen presence a cold, suffocating weight, pressing down on their fragile sense of security. Then came the sound that ripped through the fragile peace of the night. A sharp, tearing rip of fabric, followed immediately by another. Closer now, right next to the tent wall. Panic, raw and primal, erupted in the confined space. Whatever was outside was no longer content to whisper and scratch. It was breaching their sanctuary.